Yeah. So, well, anyway, welcome. It's
Thank you.
So cool to have you here. Yeah, super stoked. First off, today we're just going to be talking about identity and the crucial role it plays in our lives, how it develops, and just I guess it plays a massive role whether you like it or not. So, on today's panel, we got Dan Quate. So grateful for you to come up, man. It's a long way for you to come, and really excited to hear from you and your perspectives. You got a bit of background in the sporting world, been a rugby player for the Highlanders, right?
A very long time ago, yep.
Yeah, and then off to Japan for a little while, so some cool stories there, and then obviously more recently as a firefighter in Kauwerau, and some real cool community work there as well. So thanks for coming, man.
No worries, pal.
Yeah. And then, just so you know, you got Kevin Taylor, welcome back.
Thank you.
KT. I really enjoyed hearing from you last week, man. 44 years experience in the New Zealand Police, amazing stories, and I really look forward to sort of continuing hearing more about your story. Is there anything else you'd like to introduce about yourself when it comes to the topic of identity?
Oh, we'll just see how the conversation unpacks.
Perfect. Yep. And then my brother Ethan, firefighter over in Hamilton, and I happen to know a lot about your background, your upbringing, so some pretty cool stories there as well. So cool to have you all here.
So in terms of identity, you've stacked the panel, 3 firefighters and me.
Yeah. Well,
you put me in the middle.
We had to give
heaven, mate.
Oh yeah. I won't start with the banter we have on the side of the road, or used to.
We had to get up the years somehow. We've still got more police experience on the panel than anything else. Yeah, that's right.
Is that a polite way of calling me old?
No.
Experience.
Yeah,
thank you.
Experience. No, too good. So straight off the bat, I'm going to just go over a brief overview of some of the key concepts and sort of definitions of what identity is. And then we can explore some of the ways that you guys might have seen them in your careers and stuff. So identity is like, there's a heap of stuff on it. So I've been studying towards a psychology degree for the last little while and really enjoying it. And identity is a big sort of topic in that. Sort of the intersection between, I guess, how you see yourself and how others see you, and like what is, what it means, what self is. There's like philosophers have debated for many, many years, so it's quite a big one to crack into, but we're just gonna, it's sort of, I guess, some of the key points I can think of off the top of my head to highlight would be, so elements of your identity, like personal identity, your own traits, your personality, your preferences, things like that. Then there's your social sort of identity, who you align with, your beliefs, your culture, and that goes into the other part, which is values, like your purpose in life, and then your roles, the things you bring from, I guess, firefighting, all that sort of stuff. One key concept that I really like about identity, one of the ways that it's been put, has been like the autobiographical self. It's like the story you're telling with your life. And I quite like that. So I'd just like to hear from you guys. When you hear those things about what identity is, what's your first thoughts? What's sort of some experiences you guys might have had?
Well, first thoughts with that introduction, I'm intimidated. So, so we're competing with philosophers.
No. That's not the point. I guess the point.
No, I'm kidding, mate. I'm kidding.
The point of the discussion is to bring it down from like complicated down into just like, I want to hear from real world experience, right? Reading books, getting all the theory, that's one thing, but actually learning what it means in the day to day for real world people is the point of this podcast. So,
It's probably tricky, right? Because it's that whole like talking about yourself and delving into that is always weird for us guys, I presume, most of us, and that whole like who I think I am versus who other people see me as.
Yeah.
I guess that's the sort of crossroads you come to, right?
Mm.
And then I suppose just how you word it. Obviously, from the outside, we're all firefighters or first responders, so that's a big part of, I guess, how other people see us. I'd like to think my priority would be family man. That would be what I'd want to be first and foremost.
Yeah, sure.
So hopefully that comes across too. But different stages of life, you have to almost, as like very early in life when I was a rugby player, it had to be about being a rugby player, right? So you had to be, everything was about being tough, and especially we're going years and years ago, so a different era, right? It was the hard drinking, it was the hard everything, doing more aggressive, just uber aggressive. That was sort of the personality. And so whether it's real or not, that's what you're trying to get out there.
Yeah.
And then you switch into another area of your life. You move on, you become a father or whatnot. Now I'd rather be thought of as a nice guy. That's what I want the takeaway to be. So again, whether that is it or not, I'm not sure. But I guess we're always sort of trying to strive for. We've got our own ideas in our head that we're trying to put out there. So I guess it changes throughout what stage you are in your life.
Definitely, it does. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Identity evolves. I'm fascinated by, I don't want to hijack the conversation, but identity politics, and people are, so you're a rugby player. So you look at us and go, so you're a white Anglo-Saxon male.
Yeah.
In my case, middle-aged. I'll use that, not old. And it's like, well, thanks very much. But most people who will look at somebody and they will assign identity qualities or characteristics actually don't know you. So people will look at me and say, oh, you're ex-police. Yeah, well, that's one aspect. I'm also a father. I'm a university graduate. I'm a grandfather. I'm a whole range of other things. So identity to me is not simplistic, and we tend to put labels on it so that we can categorise people and put them into a safe zone, and often it's so we can feel safe about ourselves. So if I can pigeonhole you, then I don't feel threatened. Why would you want to feel threatened anyway? And I think identity is really complex, and it grows.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Well, that was a conversation killer, wasn't
it? That's 100. It's like what I'm here for.
There's so much in there to unpack. I think I like what Levi, you were saying earlier about there's almost two sides to identity. There's your own view of yourself, and then what you're saying, the view others have of you, and trying to maybe bring those into line. And like you're saying, with being a rugby player early on, but trying to have everyone see actually the family man and stuff like that. It's like trying to bring those two into perspective and keep them actually aligned. But I suppose identity, I think that's a really big part, trying to bring those two into one piece. But then I think it's defined by how you see yourself and respond in certain situations. I think that's what actually defines your identity, I suppose. Because that's what other people will see, right? Is how you're responding to situations or whatever it is that you're doing. And that builds your identity, I suppose.
Yeah. And plus whether you actually care what other people think, right? You might just be happy in yourself, and whatever they think's none of my business anyway. So it depends what your approach is there.
That's true. So like when we think of the autobiographical self sort of point, this is just we don't have to go into like your deepest, darkest like moments or anything. But I'd be interested, in whatever aspect you're comfortable to share. What are some of if your life was a biography, if someone wrote a book about you, what would be a couple of your favourite chapters?
Gee whiz. Think that one through. Yeah, fatherhood for one.
Yeah.
But that sort of came later in life for me because we were doing other things and not living in New Zealand at the time. So that would be the big one. Yeah, I don't know. the rugby stuff's so long ago, I don't even really think about it, you know.
Come on, it would be a chapter.
It would be a chapter, yeah, but I don't, whether it's the proudest or
Yeah,
it just
yeah.
is what it is, sort of
Yeah.
thing. Yeah. What would yours be?
Well, that's a good question. I think I had a really defining time in my life. Like, a lot of my identity was forged when I was probably about 17 through 19 kind of thing, where I had all the ideas of what I wanted to be, who I wanted to be with, and
Yeah.
like I knew, you know, I basically had this clear as vision of what I wanted to do,
Yeah.
and every step of the way was just met with like a brick wall. Like,
Right.
just couldn't, like, so I was, you know, specifically, you know, I just met Hannah, had a massive crush on her, like, just couldn't get her out of my head, and I knew I wanted to be a firefighter, and I was going through the application process. I went through the application process like 4 times, and it was painful. Every time I got turned down, it was just like,
Right.
it was a massive kick in the guts, and it took 3 years to get through. And then obviously my history with Hannah, that took, like, we were best friends for a long time, but continually sort of, you know, I'd be like, all right, let's make something of it, and then it was like, no. It took like 5 years.
Right.
5 years. It's
Persistent.
like, yeah, man. It's a long story, but like, I think that chapter really laid the foundation for so much of who I am. Like,
Right.
so while I'm not proud of a lot of the stuff I did and said during that time, yeah, certainly some of it's quite embarrassing, but I think it's probably one of my favourite chapters because it was such a defining time. And then other chapter would be right now, like, as you say, just being got 2 young kids, and I ended up marrying the girl of my dreams, you know, like, so it's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
it's just an awesome chapter in life, and I just feel like yeah, I quite definitely feels like this would be one of my favourite chapters, you know, like, so yeah, that'll be my favourite too, but I don't know.
I guess for me, identity is more than just what you do or what you've achieved. Oh, you're a rugby player. Oh, you're a policeman.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I used to do. But it's a lot deeper than that.
Yeah.
And I'd like to think I learn vicariously from other people's mistakes. You know, note to self, don't do that. That's a really bad idea because that ended badly. And I've watched that in people I've worked with and in other careers. And somewhat cynically, back in the 1970s when I was a young cop, we would get the retirement notices and we go, how long do you reckon we'll see an obituary? You know, that was pretty cynical back then. But these were mostly men whose whole life was their work. It was their identity. It was their very essence of who they were. And when they retired, they had nothing. And it's like, note to self, don't do that. You know? So I think for me, identity, as I say, it evolved. It's not what I own. It's not what I do professionally or privately. It's much deeper than that. Those are elements of it.
Yeah.
But I think you just need to be conscious that you don't want to tie yourself to a particular aspect of what your identity may or may not be. You know?
I like it. Yeah. So, identity is something that, like, I guess some of the theories cover. It develops, like, as you say, develops over a lifetime, changes so much at each stage. A lot of the sort of studies and research really focus on childhood and that youth identity development stage. Katie, Dan, you've both sort of done quite a bit of work with youth and, you know, in that sort of community and youth work area. Are there any stories or experiences you guys might have had that could add to, like, I mean, that is a pivotal stage that you're working with these people in. I don't know, any insight, any experiences that's like, yeah, this is like a really important thing about identity that that you might have seen unfold?
Well, I sort of just stumbled into it through the fire stuff.
Which is cool.
Yeah. I always enjoyed it. I always
Yeah.
enjoyed working with the young people, and I didn't really think that was the option in Fens as much. And it was literally, we just had a station visit one time. I happened to be on, and it was like a group of like court-appointed youth, so they had been more the serious end of offending. They were under 24-hour supervision or what have you. Super cool kids, just took them through, did some fun stuff with them, and then we ended up, because I enjoyed it, and I talked to the boss at the time, and she was like, well, you can pretty much do within reason whatever you want to do, right?
Sure.
You're still going to be teaching them fire safety and this, that and the other, so it became a regular thing. And then we ended up getting in a lot more youth organisations to come through as well. But for me, it was purely because I found that provided me with probably more job satisfaction than the stuff we normally go to. And then I always had this conflict, like, well, far out, maybe I shouldn't be a firefighter then, because I'm somehow making it work, but it's not really what the job's meant for. And plus, being in Kauwerau, it's very unique as well. We're a quiet station. Never there's going to be a town of 7,000 that's got career firefighters, right?
Yeah.
So, and we've got this great big yard, and we've got no shortage of kids who might need a little bit of pointing in the right direction. So it all seemed to kind of work. But I often thought maybe I'd have been better off being like a community constable, because my brother was a policeman for like 23 years, and when I was growing up, rugby wasn't an option until I was in high school. That's when it turned professional. And so up to that point, I always thought I was going to be a policeman, because my uncle was a policeman, my brother was a policeman. And so then I was having those thoughts, but by that stage he'd been in 20 years, and he's probably at that point where he's like, don't do it, mate. It's terrible, you'll hate it. Yeah, so I just sort of fell into it. And then also, because when I joined and we moved to Kauwerau, and my son was only 2, so he went through preschool in Kauwerau, and so you'd see all the little kids, and again, the nature of our station, we could go there. Like every second set, we'd be at the preschool, like doing something, hanging out. Or if I'm not at work, I'm picking them up. So you go in early and you're hanging out with these kids for ages, and you start to see, because we all know Kauwerau's not the only town, but lots of little towns that have really bad reputations. But I was just seeing all these cool as little kids, right? And then you just start thinking like, well, everyone's born as a cool little kid, and then it's what happens, moulds them into who they become. And there's so many great people in Kauwerau. It's predominantly it's just a reputation thing, right? But if you live there, there's amazing adults as well, amazing families too. But that was the thing for me, because I used to also think, probably prior to that, when I would do things with young people, I'd be almost hesitant to do it with the naughty kids, because I'm like, why do these guys get it? Why do we reward? It should be the good kids who get to come and do cool things. But I almost had a complete 180 where I was like, no, actually, these kids are probably acting out for a certain reason. Their life's probably pretty not that great everywhere else, so why shouldn't they get this cool experience in a few hours to break away from whatever their normal is? So from a selfish point of view, I do it because it makes me feel good. I get a lot out of it. And I feel like you get, in terms of like bang for your buck, so much back for a little bit of investment, a little bit of time, a little bit of positivity, and you can see them really prosper. So I just have always enjoyed it. So where it eventually takes me, I'm not sure, but
It's awesome, man. Cool. Very cool story.
Just leveraging off that, dealing with young people, I spent a number of years in youth aid in South Auckland, in Māngere or Tahuhu, and I guess I see a difference between a person's identity and their behaviour, or their character, or their identity shapes personality. And often you say, oh, well, you're dealing with kids who've broken the law and stolen cars or shoplifting or broken into houses. So you've stolen a car, so you're a thief. Well, if that becomes the person's identity, where is there room to change, to grow, to mature? So I had the attitude, which I still have, is that behaviours betray an attitude or a belief or a value system, not necessarily your identity. Because if you say you've stolen something, therefore you're a thief, and that's the identity you ascribe to that person, where's the motivation to change? Oh, well, you think I'm a thief? Good on you. I will prove you right.
Yeah.
So if you assign these, identity labels to kids in particular,
Yeah.
they will live up to your expectations.
Yeah.
It's not going to be good for anybody.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
I think that's really important, that your identity is rooted in a whole lot of different things, but it's expressed through behaviours, through attitudes, through personality, and through all these other things, all of which can change.
Yeah. I love that. That's really cool.
Well, I guess because if they can't change,
Yeah.
well, there's no point in trying.
Yeah.
You deal with these young
Yeah,
kids who,
stuck.
you've messed up. So, you know what? We might as well just shoot you now, because clearly there is no hope. You've set your course. Your identity is this. You're going to cause lots of harm. Why would we bother?
Yeah.
That's not the world I want to live in.
I like that. That's really cool insight, because I think so many people, including myself at times, right, jumps to your identity is what you do. Yeah. And it's so easy to see someone and just be like, pretty much judging a book by its cover, right? If you see someone in an environment or whatever, you're like, pretty much branded them, and there's no, we like putting things in a box in our head, right? And it's like, as soon as you got something in a box, then there's no room for anything to work outside that box. I really like that, KT. That's
That
real
comes back to the identity politics thing I talked about right at the very beginning.
Yeah.
Don't pigeonhole people.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's a good point that can actually end up impacting them into staying in that sort of lane or line,
If you have influence over their lives, particularly if you're in a position of authority, it can, significantly so.
So, a part that I think I've come across a bit in my studies that I think is quite relevant to identity is this social comparison. So, in summary, social comparison in its normal, healthy behaviour is something we all do. We all look at each other. I might look at Dan and the way he fathers, and I will use my social comparison and be like, he's a really good dad, and so that's upwards comparison, and I'm then inspired to be a good dad and do some of the things he does with JG, right? Some of the things that he does with JG that I might use and do with my daughters and stuff. So that's upwards comparison. Healthy downwards comparison is like looking at people who might be less fortunate than me, not have the same opportunities, and that inspires me to be maybe empathetic or give an opportunity. That's healthy, but quite a common thing. In social media, the theory is applied to social media in particular, where it's just blown out of proportion. Upwards comparison becomes jealousy, just like unrealistic expectations of self, all those sorts of things. Downwards comparison is I'm better than you, and all those sorts of things. So in a healthy state, it's quite good for personal identity. In an unhealthy state, blown out of proportion, and it can be quite damaging to someone's personal sort of grounding. So, with digital culture in mind, and with the way social comparison, we compare ourselves to everyone. This is sort of what KT was saying earlier, I suppose. If we're too focused on the outward stuff and not focused on, it's Dan, wasn't it? Not focused on just like being comfortable with ourselves, can get quite damaging. Any thoughts or experiences where you guys could sort of add to that as far as digital cultures and...
Mate, I'm the wrong guy to talk to. I don't do any of the digital stuff.
But that's therefore that's an important perspective to get, right?
But obviously my son, he's 9, he will be right into that.
Yeah.
It's just is what it is, right?
Yeah.
And it almost has to be so he doesn't get left behind, because that's the danger if he...
Sure.
So we're not quite at that point yet, but I'm sure it's something we'll have to be mindful of. And the schools seem to do a good job.
Yeah.
From what I can tell, they have the police come through and talk about all that keeping yourself safe and that sort of stuff in terms of. But yeah, I mean, how do you protect them against the comparison sides? Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure, mate. It's gonna be tricky.
Even just the it doesn't have to be just on you either, Dan. Like just the importance of, I guess, your grounding, right? Like to me, the social comparison gets blown out of proportion when you start trying to please everybody, or like start trying to appeal, like as you were saying before with the rugby stuff, you know, like trying to appeal to fit in, you know, and changing who you are, and I think that's part of social comparison and things. So yeah, doesn't that?
Look, I guess for me, the digital world is like the Wild West. It's unregulated, and social media is neither social nor is it a particularly good source of media in terms of facts.
Yeah.
So I'm a little bit dark on that.
Yeah.
Your so-called influencers.
Yeah.
I mean, if ever there was an example of complete garbage, these so-called influencers, most of the limited amount I've seen of them, I wouldn't give you tuppence for their point of view.
Yeah.
You probably lump podcasters in with them as well.
Yeah, man.
So podcasters,
Anyone
No,
who
not
studies
at all.
psychology.
yeah, all that good stuff. Yeah. Except for your professors, I hear they're quite wise. I guess you talk about doing comparisons. So, if I lean on from a faith-based perspective, Paul wrote nearly 2,000 years ago, but you comparing yourselves with yourselves are not wise. So if I look at Dan and go, oh, I see you're a rugby player. Oh, I never played rugby. I'll say you're better than me. Or you're a firefighter. And I was a policeman. I was probably not a good example.
Hey, we get to
I'm
sleep
kidding,
on
all right?
that shit,
Yeah.
And patient.
Yeah. It's like you are the unique individual that you are. And making a comparison with someone else in terms of your identity is fraught with danger. It's just a slippery slope to tripping yourself up and just coming undone.
Yeah.
It's not helpful. How do you protect your kids against it? Luckily, my kids are all grown up. You guys have that challenge because the digital world and the kinds of influence they get, my personal view is they need protecting from it. It's insidious.
Yeah.
And I guess that leads into another point I would make, is that it doesn't matter who you are, your intrinsic personal value is no more and no less than anybody else. From the guy sitting in a cell at the police station to the Prime Minister, as an individual, your personal value is exactly the same as an individual.
Yeah.
What you do, however, can make a lot of difference in terms of your contribution to society. But the value of an individual, I think we start getting into that conversation, that's, again, equally dangerous. Because you have to live up to expectations.
Yeah. Going off script, that's a really rare point of view to hear from a police officer, especially 44 years, that a person, like as far as value goes, to maintain that level of human dignity, I don't know what it would be. That's impressive. Like, how have you found that?
A bit of a challenge.
Yeah.
I've had to pull myself up a few times. So I won't use the acronyms we use to describe certain sectors of our client base in the police, because you'll have to edit it out of the video. Suffice it to say, not particularly complimentary or positive. That doesn't mean I don't think that the behaviour of a lot of people is acceptable. It's not.
Yeah.
Some behaviour is criminal and it needs addressing. But that doesn't change the intrinsic value of the individual, of the person.
Yeah.
Because if it does, then again, you come back to you can't change, your intrinsic value is rooted in what you do, therefore we might as well just line them up and shoot them. And I'm not advocating that.
No, not at all.
Or am I?
Yeah, well, that's really cool. Shall we try? You know, the idea is to have a bit of a laugh as well. So we brought a game along. We'll see how it goes. All right. We're just trying this. This is a brand new podcast. So if the segment doesn't work, just smack me around the ears. Let me know it doesn't work.
Yeah.
So we got Dan. Unfortunately, you're today's victim. It's I mean, this is a mental health and resilience podcast, right? So what's going to happen is you're going to get 5 unfortunate things happen to you.
Right.
5 worst case scenarios, as they're called.
Yeah.
And basically, you got to rate them from what's your worst case scenario, like bad to worst.
Right.
So 1 being bad, and then
1
5
being the
being
worst.
the absolute worst.
Oh, 5 the worst?
Yeah. So you're going to rank them blindly. So Ethan's going to give you your tiles. And then the 3 of us have to discuss and try and work out a little bit about Dan and see what your worst case scenario would be and guess how you rated them. Does that make sense?
I think so. We'll
Yeah.
figure it
So-
out.
so
We'll
figure it
so
out
do I
as we
know
go.
all
You
of them
will
before I-
know. So those are your tokens. So they pretty much tell you what you think
yeah.
of which. And these are the 5 scenarios. So we'll go over the scenarios. We'll lay them out.
Right.
Someone's
And
gone
decide-
through the effort of writing like 200 and something worst case
There's
scenarios.
a lot, and some are worse than others. Some are definitely worse than others. So we've got caught in the mouth of a blue whale, which would be interesting because aren't they baleen feeders? So how would you get in there?
Oh, there we go. There's a bit of like science as well.
Fly solo in a hot air balloon. Worst case
I
scenario.
reckon Dan would be cool in that situation. You're like,
Yes,
sweet.
first 2 answers.
Yeah, yeah. Forced to give mouth to mouth to a baboon.
I got no issues with that.
Yeah, there we go. There we go.
Dude.
Live with a
Great.
sibling who is better at everything than you are.
What's that like, Levi?
Well said. Well said.
Treat your own bullet wound.
Mate, these are all nothing,
It's
right?
like
those
it's
are all
a day in the
scenarios.
life of Dan.
Now,
Tuesday.
now you're going to get your tokens,
Yeah.
and you're going to place them down upside down, according to your how
yeah,
you
yeah,
rate
yeah,
them,
yeah, yeah.
and then we need to figure out how well we know you by guessing what you would rank them as,
Okay.
if that makes sense. So take
Right.
a moment,
Do you guys need
figure
to
out which
look away or?
your
I'll just put the tiles down so we can't see.
yeah your little tokens. It's an interesting
I
one.
think mouth to mouth to baboon. That's.
It's pretty nasty.
I reckon that'd be horrific.
You reckon?
Yeah.
Okay. Thought the mouth of a blue whale was not
Big ugly
ideal,
teeth.
right?
Yeah. Just disease. Be case 0 for the next round of COVID.
Pretty much.
I think you might have to explain the rules.
Oh. Okay, so.
No, I'm still just figuring it out.
No, don't
I'll go through
rearrange
it.
them. You put your tokens
Oh, right,
face
right,
down.
right.
No, it's okay. He's trying
I'll
to throw us
still- I'll
off.
still be face down.
I was going to say, it's his strategy. It's his strategy. He might be playing mind games with us, so we just think the other cards above it, and then he'll flip them all around, and he puts the tokens in, see?
Yeah, I'm lost.
I feel
Yeah,
like
exactly.
a hot air balloon. I would just drift away into the sunset.
But I
Eventually.
suppose
come down,
that
but-
is a relatively bad scenario.
Yeah.
But it's kind of peaceful.
Peaceful way to go.
Yeah, almost. Don't know, I've never been on a hot air balloon, so I wouldn't know.
So I won't look at what he's doing.
Yeah.
Not cheating.
Yeah.
But the blue whale one is interesting. Are you just caught in its
Mm.
like lips and in its baleen type thing? Or are you like, have you got stuck inside somehow?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Caught
hey.
in the mouth. It's
Yeah.
only got a matter of seconds there. Yeah.
I want to make sure I've got the right things here.
How's he doing?
Well, we've
Made
got
that
tokens
one.
on all of them.
Yeah.
We happy?
Yeah.
Alrighty, team. So now's our turn to try and place our tokens down where we think. What are we thinking would be not so bad out of the lot?
I think the little bit I know about Dan, I reckon treating his own battle wound would be like the best war story.
I reckon it would be cool. I agree. I think that makes an amazing story, right? Yeah, like a scar and.
What else we got there?
Well, we've
What
got
do we
fly,
now?
solo, and a hot air balloon. caught in the mouth of a blue whale, forced to give mouth-to-mouth to a baboon, or live with a sibling who is better than you are at everything?
Yeah.
Why did that one
KT,
make you
was-
laugh?
I just know my brothers. It's never happening.
So I was going to say, clearly, professional rugby player, there's a competitive edge.
It has to be, right?
It has to be. Oh man. Yeah.
Despite what he said before, I'm still
Yeah.
tossing up between the baboon and the whale as being the
Being the
worst.
worst?
Worst.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Out of the two, I reckon the baboon would be worst.
Yeah.
Like, one, I feel like one, it's pretty gross, but two, they're like really dangerous, right? It could go sideways really quickly.
Yeah, if it's successful CPR,
I
you're,
don't-
you're in trouble.
Yes.
Yep.
Well, I'm just thinking, Jonah aside, you're in the mouth
Yep.
of a blue whale.
Yeah.
You're a long way out to sea. It's going to end badly.
That's
True
true.
that.
That's a good point. That
So
is
we're
a good point.
going 5 blue whale, 4 baboon.
Okay, yep,
I reckon,
yep, I'm happy with
yeah.
that. So where's our whale one? Here it is. So we think the whale is the worst, and the baboon is the
Yep.
second worst.
Yeah.
They're getting a little
So-
tighter now.
So I reckon the sibling one has got to be up there.
Yeah, I'd say it has to be the next one, right?
I'm just wondering where that is with the baboon.
Sure.
True
True.
that.
Okay. So you're thinking that maybe the sibling's worse than the baboon?
Yeah,
Depends
yeah.
how seriously competitive Dan is.
Mm.
Yeah.
Quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Katie's on side
Yeah.
there.
We'll
4 and 3.
switch those around then and check that as a 3.
Okay.
And
okay.
then,
Interesting.
Treat your own bullet wound or fly solo in a air balloon, hot air balloon.
I think solo and hot air balloon is a walk in the park.
I think it's cool, right?
Yeah,
I don't think it's a problem.
it's a bit of fun.
Yeah, exactly. So it has to be number 1 and then treat your own bullet wound number 2.
I'm
Is that
happy
what
with
we're happy with?
KT?
Yeah,
happy.
Yeah.
I'm pretty happy.
Pretty happy?
Alright, Dan.
Not
Alright,
even
then.
close.
Talk us through
So,
it.
what's your thoughts?
I had one as in the
Wow.
not live with the sibling
Yeah.
who was better than you and everything. Maybe I'm just so egotistical I can't imagine
yeah.
that world.
Also, that would never happen.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
It's,
No.
We've underestimated his competitive
yeah,
spirit.
yeah.
So then you guys had that at 4. So I was being serious about this one. Forced to
Really?
give mouth to a baboon.
Really?
Doesn't bother me.
You just
Doesn't bother
There
me.
you go.
Wow, man.
It's
I
awesome.
welcome the challenge.
Yeah, brave.
Oh,
That is awesome.
Admire that.
That is awesome.
Whether it happens or not.
Yeah.
Fly a hot air balloon solo.
Number 3.
Not ideal, right?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Sure.
Bullet wound was 4 because I'm thinking, what else is coming after that?
Yeah.
You know,
right.
obviously I'm in a
Yeah,
war zone.
yeah.
Something's
Yeah.
happening. And then this one I'm likely to die, right?
Hey.
So,
We got 1.
We got 1
We
out
got
of
1,
5.
right?
yeah.
I
That was
mean,
awesome.
that's a
Wow.
score.
There you go.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I like it.
That's
Good
that's-
stuff, Dan.
That is.
Yep.
That is. I love how deep you went into that one.
I think you're surviving. I think we probably, with the way we rated it, we definitely did. I
Right.
think your survival skills.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey. I agree.
So I wasn't thinking war zone on the bullet wound. I was
No.
thinking playing around just prior to going hunting or coming back, and you shot yourself in the foot, and you're too embarrassed to go to hospital.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
That scenario,
You
right.
have to explain yourself.
Yeah.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
So I like Dan's scenario. It is a lot more heroic.
Yes.
Oh,
Hey. Yeah. Yep. Neat.
Oh, good.
That's awesome. Did we want to do another round, or are we
I
going to have
don't
it?
think so. I think there's one.
I think we've figured
Do you
out.
want to go through another round of
I'm easy, mate.
Good. I think we'll let's see how's our time going actually on this one. 'Cause we do have to keep that in mind. Yeah, I think we'll start wrapping up the topic. So the last point on identity is, I think, so often in the topics that in studies, identity and belonging come together, and I think it's sort of it does lean into what you're saying about, being comfortable with who you are before worrying about the comparison of things that might not. Knowing who your people are, who you belong to is, and is a massive part of what makes us who we are. Culture, all that, all those bits build into it. And I think also a topic that ties in with it is like how, with the culture side of things, it's a very Western culture thing, the independence, you know, like that's, so you do you, or whatever it is, that's like putting your personal identity, it's very important. But I think Western culture emphasizes it a lot more than other cultures, where other cultures are all about community and your roles. So yeah, I don't know, I'd like your guys' perspectives on just that, the piece of belonging, when it comes to what makes you who you are and me who I am.
Do you want to take that one, Kevin?
Oh, thanks. Yeah, that's interesting. So I'll reflect on an experience I had in Afghanistan. So I deployed there 2011. You talk about individual identity and then identity rooted in a group. So, which is also rooted in a culture, which in that case was rooted in a belief system and structure as well. Despite the best efforts of everybody involved, you cannot separate out an individual from the culture and the environment they're in and leave them in that environment, because it's just not going to happen. And I remember I was in a little island nation, I won't mention it because depending on where this goes, and had I was doing some leadership development with the police there, and one of the Navy boys said to me, so I was getting frustrated, so we went and sat on the deck overlooking the lagoon, beautiful South Pacific sort of paradise, and he said, 400 years. I said, what are you talking about? He said, these people have squatted on this coral atoll for 400 years before you arrived, and in 400 years they'll still be here. Said, you're trying to change them. They said, it took them 400 years to get to where they are. If you insult them, if you go too fast, you get ahead of them, they'll smile, they'll nod, they'll agree with everything you said, they'll wave you goodbye on the plane, and in 400 years' time, nothing will have changed. And that's, to me, that was a really powerful life lesson, is that identity is more than just the individual in a lot of cultures. It's completely rooted in the culture that they're in, and trying to change that, apart from being an insult, it just ain't going to happen. That would be my experience with that.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and you probably, I feel like you gravitate towards similar people, right? So, and even like in the job, you think, like going in, I was thinking, it's going to be similar to stuff I'd enjoyed in the past, the team environment, we've all got a common goal. You know, we want to be working under pressure, so that just forges this bond, and it kind of is like that, right? You know, to some extent, maybe not quite as much as you think sometimes. And so I guess that was part of gravitating towards who you'd think would people who share a similar identity to you. But yes, as far as the comparison one you were speaking of earlier, I think, you know, there's that cool saying, comparison is the thief of joy, which is so true, but it requires real discipline to sort of use that in your real life, you know. It's so easy to look over the fence or see what other people are doing. So there's discipline in not allowing yourself to do that. But yeah, as long as you're aware of it and it's sort of front of mind, you can always sort of rein yourself in or pull yourself back when that starts to happen.
I think when I think about identity and belonging, I probably draw back from when we were growing up in Thailand and how that was an environment where we didn't belong, you know, but how that actually also stood out to our identity. And I think that maybe is the opposite of sort of what we've been looking at, but how your belonging is absolutely can point you where your identity is, or for those who you belong to. by being around others that you don't belong with, or you maybe don't identify with on a whole lot of different levels. And so I think, identity and belonging are obviously linked deeply, and how they can help determine who you are. And I think that's why it's really important to know both where you belong to and what your identity is to yourself, because that way it can actually point you true when you're in an environment that's not the one you don't belong to, or one that you don't identify with.
That's awesome. Yeah, I like that. And then I think, like, further to that story, that when we move home and you feel like you should belong with everyone, but you don't.
Right.
And it's like, I think that was the biggest culture shock I ever had. Like, all the countries that we went to and stuff, biggest culture shock I ever had was moving home. Like, it was like, well, I do not belong here. And it was just really interesting. It was like a sort of, again, a defining sort of moment of like.
And how long did that last, or is it still a thing?
I suppose it lasted a wee while. I suppose it's always maybe a bit of a thing, but mainly I suppose I'd probably put that down more to my faith and my, that's sort of, it's almost become part of my identity, is that like, I don't belong here. Like there's some of these cultural things that almost I don't want to fit into or whatever. I value what we learnt overseas, and I value all that stuff, and I think being different is a huge part of being me, I suppose. Like, I don't know how to word it. It probably sounds a bit weird, but I don't mind being different. It's probably a better way to put it, actually, is when people expect me to fit into a box, it's like, well, I don't fit into your box, and that's okay with me, and it's probably a bit of a better way of addressing that.